Hi guys, we're very excited to show you a brand new product to the Acoustic Shop. This is the Bulas Octave Mandolin, and it is gorgeous all the way from Poland. Can't wait to tell you about it.
Do they only make huge mandolins in Poland?
It's an octave, it's bigger.
Oh.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already done so, which I know you have, please subscribe down below because you're going to want to see things like this when they come to the shop, and you're only going to see that if you're a subscriber. If you're not subscribing, you can't even watch the rest of the video, so just tune out right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was pretty mean.
For the rest of you, welcome to the Acoustic Shop. I am Jeremy, this is John, and this is a Bulas mandolin.
It is. It's huge.
Pronounced different than it looks to us in the U.S. It's B-U-L-A-S. But you say that Bulas is what I understand.
I'm gonna trust you on that.
All the way from Poland, John.
I'm just gonna refuse to say it and just let you say it the whole time.
Okay, I will keep messing it up throughout the video. So we're gonna jump right into the specs to tell you what we're playing with right here. It is an A-style body, and it prices right around $53.99. It is
with fluctuation.
It fluctuates a little bit with the exchange rate and whatnot. Carpathian spruce top on this. A curly maple back and sides, and a maple neck as well on this. Ebony headstock veneer with the Jack's Creek mother of pearl inlay.
Cool.
The fretboard and peghead are bound with a wood curly maple, and it's like a 3-layer of wood on this. A beautiful selection on that. Gabon ebony, 12-inch radius. I'm not sure what that is. What's Gabon?
It's a type of ebony with a 12-inch radius. So.
The scale length on this is 559 millimeters. Because it is from Poland, they go with millimeters. That's about 22 inches in U.S. numbers. I really like this. He uses on the higher end instruments, he uses those Rubner tuners, and those are one of the smoothest turning. I think they've become my favorite tuners, even beating out the Waverleys. So really nice tuners on this. The Bulas cast tailpiece. So it's got a cast tailpiece with an ebony cover. I really like this. It kind of screws shut, so it keeps the strings from vibrating. But he did a really cool thing. He's got the pegs for the ball or loop end strings, and also slots for ball end strings on there. So really gives you an option to find the strings.
Find the right mandolin strings.
And that's just a custom one that they build over there. It's got tone bar bracing on this as standard. High gloss nitrocellulose finish on it throughout, which just looks beautiful. A Hiscox case.
Which is cool. It's a custom built
custom shaped one, yeah, for this size octave mandolin. Really nice built case. The nut width on this comes right at 1.37 inches.
35 millimeters.
Or 35 millimeters. Thank you, John, for clarifying for our European friends. Pickup's not installed on this, just an acoustic instrument, but you could always add one later on. Just a beautiful instrument. This is something that we were at the IBMA show. We went by the Bulas booth. He only had mandolins at the show, and I fell in love with them. We talked to him throughout the entire event and got a couple that we took one of them home from the show, and then he shipped us one the next week from Poland. But this
now
is one,
we're the official dealer of Bulas mandolins.
Yeah, we are the official U.S. dealer for Bulas mandolins and banjos. And this is one that I talked to him about at the show. He said he just started the build on it. Would we be interested in an octave? And I said, absolutely, send us that as soon as you get it. And actually, before we got it to the shop, a customer reached out to us and said, I hear you getting one of these octave mandolins in. I would like to buy it. And he was fortunate for us that he was willing to let us keep it an extra week so we could make this video. Because it is just a beautiful instrument. We expected to have in the shop a little longer, but I'm so glad it's going to a great home. First time I pulled it out of the case, we did a live stream with it. It just blew me away with the tone and volume and just the beauty of the build too. It's just gorgeous.
It's a lot bigger size than the octave mandolins that we have been seeing. Even when we did the octave from Weber, it was a bigger F-style one, but it was nowhere near the size of this. So this almost gives you that Mando cello size body, except it's still thinner and a little bit more natural.
Yeah, I think some of the Gibsons come in very close to this size. It's
that
a
true?
little deeper than that, but
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
quite a bit bigger body than like the Eastmans that we carry in the shop pretty often. But just, I was blown away with the quality of it and the sound and tone. So we can just jump right into our rating system and kind of get to what we think of it. Starting with tone, like I mentioned, that's what really stood out to me. I mean, you open the case and you see that the burst on it's just gorgeous, but when I first strummed it, and maybe it's that bigger body size,
I would
such
assume
a
so.
huge sustain and a deeper, fuller octave tone. So it not only is hitting those lower frequencies that you get in octave mandolin, but they're just they fill an entire room.
I also like that there's a lot of presence to it, so that when you can play it lightly like what you are right now, there's still a lot of jump out and attack to it without sounding rattly. which is kind of a common thing that octave mandolins do. I've heard almost every one of them be that way. So yeah.
So in a rating for an octave mandolin, and again, we do this rating system in like price range. So this is priced substantially higher than like the Eastman that we mentioned earlier, but very in range with, and actually on the lower price than most custom built octave instruments. So in like price range, I give this a 5 out of 5. It speaks to me.
I'm gonna go, just to give it some space. I'm gonna go with a 4.8. Sorry, just to give it a little space.
I understand. Setup and playability. Octave mandolins are normally set up a little bit higher than you would get from a standard mandolin because of the longer scale. The strings can, like I said, rattle and get kind of this buzzy sound. So with that in mind, it plays really easy for a higher tension string with those really fat strings at the bottom. It plays really easy. I think setup is great on it. I might, if I was playing this full time and not playing hard, lower that bridge just a little bit, which it has some room to go down. But in general, I'm really happy with it. I'll get a 4.5 on setup.
I'm gonna go with you on that one too. I played it as well. No rattles and buzzes. I was really impressed with that. So 4.5.
Build quality. This is what stood out to me at their booth at IBMA. They're just doing a fine job. All the edges, we talked about this in the mandolin review we did as well. They do like these nice scooped
the relief
on it, so it comes to a really nice point. And it just shows some of the quality of the build because it's so precise and precision feeling.
They do so much of their own, hardware as well, which is really impressive.
That custom tailpiece is great. The only thing I can say is there's slight imperfections with the finish. You can just see a little bit of maybe there's some slight amounts of dust that may have got in the spray. It's not perfect. That being said, that's one of the hardest things to perfect on any builder that we've ever dealt with, and just about every
smaller builder.
Every custom small builder, that is the one thing that they're not quite at that level that the big full-time players are. And the reason is those guys employ somebody that their only job is to be the best finish worker out there. They're not doing all the rest of the build. So that's a very minor knock, because when you look at the rest of the instrument, it is nearly perfect. The build quality on it's excellent. So I would say in build quality, I'm going to give this a 4.7.
I agree with you.
All right.
I think they're absolutely
beautiful.
beautiful.
I went kind of right.
Yeah, you're right on it. 4.7.
All right.
Yeah.
Then aesthetics, looks on it, gorgeous. This one just knocked out of the park. The white
the
blonde,
the maple binding. I love the sunburst. I love the color.
Front, back, and sides, and the neck.
It's a very attractive, not just straight ahead tobacco or, there's a little bit of more orangish browns in there, and I really love that color.
On the back, it's even got some golden hue to it.
Yeah.
So just a really beautiful, if you're just looking at this instrument, it deserves to be photographed and just hung on a wall because it's just gorgeous.
Is that all you're going to do is just hang it on the wall?
The photograph, not you can play the instrument.
Right.
So I'm going to give this a 5 on the sticks. It just looks gorgeous.
I was going to go with a 4.9, and I was going to do it before you just so to see what you were going to do, but so we're close.
All right. So again, even though the inlay on the headstock is nothing overly gaudy, but it's just really attractive and fits the build. So that's why I'm going with the 5 for aesthetics. Does it pass our Shoppe sustainable? We're not sure. We're just brand new with Bulas, so we're not sure exactly where he's sourcing his hardwoods. It would be a good conversation to have with them. So in the meantime, until we can confirm that it does pass our sustainable mission, we're going to plant 5 trees for every one of these that sell, and this one's already sold. So we've already planted 5 trees, not physically, but we use the 1 tree planted for that. So we're going to find that out and let you guys know in a future video on that.
Sure.
Overall value, John.
This is one of those spots. I know some of these people, again, we always have the people who are not, and I think we're going to have it even more so here on this particular one, that are not mandolin players or mandolin buyers. And guitar players are going to also be kind of looking at this. And for those folks, they're going to go, wow, that's really high. But in actuality, for a high-end mandolin build, I think it's actually very affordable.
Yeah.
So again, take it a look. If you were to see a Gibson octave mandolin in this, we'd be in the 8s and 9s probably, I would
Weber
expect.
would be very close to this range, maybe a little bit higher than that.
It should be a little bit higher.
Most of our smaller builders that are out there, when they build one of these mandolins, because they have to have entirely new molds and new everything, new jigs for every part of it to build it. So they don't do enough of them to justify a lot of that, so that expense gets added to the instrument. So I would say in this quality, I would expect these to be about $7,500 to $8,500. So the overall value for this at that $5,300 range, I think it's hitting that really sweet spot. So I'm going to give it a 4.3.
I was going to go with a 4.7. I think it's actually a whole lot of mandolin there. for what you're getting at that price.
So this brings up the question, who is this type of instrument for? We talked about the Eastman octave mandolins, and one of the reasons we like them so much, they have two different models, is because they are affordable. Octaves you don't play quite as often as you do. Most people don't play them as often as their full, standard size mandolin. So justifying a $5,000 octave is a little bit harder for a lot of people, unless that there are some genres of music that is their full instrument is an octave. Or there's also just some really passionate hobbyists that want quality instruments that this would fall in line. The Eastman really is that entry level to you want to experience an octave, but you're not going to play it all the time.
That's your full weekend warrior. That's your, I'm going out, I'm playing
and
some
they're
clubs.
fun. I love mine. I play it all the time.
I have one
myself. It does not compare tone-wise to this at all, or build quality. I mean, this is a different league entirely. All right, how does the instrument sound overall? It's just bigger. It's fuller. I mean, that's not just saying physically it's bigger. It's got a big, full tone. The Eastmans and some of those the smaller body ones sound really cool, but like I said, they have almost a rattly tone, which is kind of pleasant in some cases, but they're just not producing this type of detail to the tones. These are very clear and precise, and so hard to describe sound, but I love it. It's just big and poppy.
Yep.
Cons of the instrument, John.
I'll tell you what the biggest one's going to be, and it's the unfamiliarity of the brand for a lot of people. I don't think they're going to recognize what this is until they get a chance to put it in their hands.
I strummed it like 40 seconds ago, and I still feel the thing vibrating.
It's the Bulas company is doing some really amazing things, much more affordably, doing a little bit unique takes on some of the things that we see in standard mandolins, and we also know that the American buyer is really, really strict with the brands that they're comfortable with.
Recognize.
And I think, it's less so in the mandolin world than it is in the guitar world. I think we do see a lot of small individual builders that are kind of taking off, but I don't see a whole lot of them coming from other countries.
It normally follows the same course where they're unfamiliar, the prices are reasonable, and all of a sudden everybody jumps on board, prices shoot through the roof, and the demand keeps going up.
Obviously.
I do think that once people get familiar with this brand, which I know just anecdotally at IBMA, it was a very popular booth for people like banjo players and mandolin players alike were going through there and going, man, these are some, have you been over by the Bulas booth? Once that happens, they're going to be flying off the shelves. Well, John, I think it's a beautiful instrument. They're doing a great job. We made another video on the Bulas standard mandolin, so the standard F style. This is kind of their entry-level one. Still a beautiful instrument, and I'm glad we have it in the shop. If you guys would like to see more about the Bulas mandolin, the standard, check out this link below, and we'll see you in the next video.